Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in the magic back room at Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa. And look what I got over my shoulder today. This is a 1972 BSA Rocket 3. It's a 3-cylinder, air-cooled, overhead valves, 2 valves per cylinder. Just a hot rod motorcycle, just a gorgeous machine. 740 cc's, I believe. Let's look at our notes here. 240 degree crank. That means each piston was spaced about 120 degrees apart, so there's a constant roll. She cranked out between 57 and 60 horsepower, depending on what you read, at about 8,000 RPM. That's quite a number for this bike. I believe this one still has a 4-speed transmission. Later they'd have a 5. Kickstart only, of course. Triple Amal carburetors, and I like the linkage. Look back here. We'll try and give that a turn. Isn't that neat? This is a purely analog motorcycle. The only thing close to a computer on here would be the carburetors and possibly the ignition system. And the ignition on this one is a point system. So there are 3 sets of points here. There's a camshaft here and a camshaft here. And there's 3 sets of points under this cover. And I believe there's 3 coils somewhere. I know there's a coil for each cylinder. Oh, they're back here somewhere behind this oil tank. It's really quite a machine. That's about as close to a computing system as this thing would have. Another interesting thing about this is it is a 3-cylinder motorcycle, which has got 4 pipes. So it goes from 3 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back into 2. And we saw a Triumph that did that the other day. Matter of fact, it's right here. Check that out. It's done in a different way though. Now this one, if you notice, has a single down tube. That's the Triumph version. Where this has a double down tube frame. So 2 tubes going down. So it's a different frame. The engine is canted forward. I don't know if the Triumph is canted forward at all, but this one definitely is. Jumping over here to the other side, let's see what we got over here. Looks like a choke. Here's more of that linkage. Let's give that a twist again. Isn't that neat? Throttle cable's right here. Goes to this. That runs that. And that runs an actuator that goes to each one of the carburetors. Look at this right here. Very cool, very cool. I like it. Push rods back here, 2 sets, and same on the front. I did talk to Richter Machine. He was telling me that next time he has one of these apart, he's going to show me how that system works. Because you have 3 cylinders, but you only have 2 sets of push rods. And he said there's a really nifty way that they did that, and we'll have to see that sometimes. Of course, this is the primary side. Clutch is under here. Just look at that. I'm guessing this is a clutch cable. Yep, that's what it does. Probably a breather hose right here. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous machine. I like the way the air cleaner looks. It's really an interesting look. These came out, I think, in '68. Let me look at my notes here. 1968. They ran them from 68 to 75. And these were supposed to, just rule the market when they came out. Well, Honda came out with the 754 that year. And the story was that the 754s were quicker, but these had, a couple miles an hour more on the top end. So very interesting competition. Of course, the Japanese, had a whole different design theory, and we'll have to make a video about that sometime. Anyway, very interesting engine, isn't it? I like the whole thing, Like I said, the shifter right here, Kickstarter, just a real gorgeous thing. Something I'd like to point out about this, I just pushed this from across the room over here. This is a heavy motorcycle. It weighs 500 pounds, I believe. 498 pounds wet. That's 226 kilograms. And, well, let's compare that to the Daytona I did last week over yonder. I think that was in the 350s, 360s. And I think it was this bike that we did the other day. And that was about 360, 370 wet. So quite a difference in weight. For a few more horsepower, I think the Daytona was rated at 48 horsepower. This is 58 or 60, depending on what you read. But it did have quite a top end. This bike was supposed to run from about 115 to 122 miles an hour, depending on what you read. I did have a friend that had the Triumph version of this, and I can attest that that bike did have a good top speed, though it was not very quick around town. Okay, let's jump to the front end. Look at that beautiful brake. I think that's an 8-inch brake. I love the little intake scoop here. That looks like it is a dual leading shoe. Let's squeeze that to make sure. Yes, it is. Amazing. Little outlet vents right there. Chrome wheel. Tire size on this is a 4.1 by 19 front, 4.1 by 19 on the rear as well. Check out all the shiny on that. Isn't that something? Just gorgeous. Look at that. I love the way these things are put together. Very, there's a lot of art into these. I talked about that the other day. We were looking at the other two Triumphs I was talking about earlier. You know, a lot of style that goes into these things. Got the cone hub on the rear, the speedo drive right there, chain adjusters right here. Look at the pipes. I'm assuming those are the stock pipes. I'm not sure. Just a beautiful looking machine all the way around. Check out this side cover here. I'm assuming that's the ignition. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Brake system. It's got a drum on the rear as well. You know, I always like to go into these. We've got a different kind of microelectronics now at this point. Arm reaches to here. Here's the fulcrum. Adjuster back here. Drum brake in there. The narrow drum brake. I really like that hub, that cone hub. Beautiful. Very narrow tires by today's standard, but back in the day that was a good thing. Gorgeous. The seat does not pop open on this. At least I couldn't figure out how to do it. The tank is absolutely gorgeous. That's another thing. I found that it's supposed to have a 5-gallon tank, and I just don't think that's a 5-gallon tank, so my info must be off. But look at those, look at that absolutely gorgeous badge. Just a beautiful thing. Chrome tank, gold line here, maroon. Carries on over here to the side cover, flat top cap. You pull this rubber plug out, and that's how you get the tank off. Just a beautiful thing, isn't it? Let's sit on this thing. Whoa! Wow, what a motorcycle. Steering dampener, clutch lever over here. Not sure what these buttons are. Over here the brake, the fuel of course. Got those very nice barrel grips. I love the way those feel. Jumping up here, Smith gauges. These are going to be magnetic. Look at that. Isn't that neat? And headlight switch probably right there. I'm guessing one of these is a neutral light and maybe a generator light, and that might be a turn signal light. I'm not sure. The bike has turn signals now. I think the earlier ones we looked at did not have turn signals. Kind of a pretty sight, isn't it? Check that out. I like it. You can see the ends of the oil cooler and the engine. It's a very wide engine for a Triumph. So that's, you know, really something I noticed with this was it's heavier than a normal Triumph. It's certainly wider. It feels like it has a very low center of gravity. The reading that I found said it had a good top end, great handling, and excellent brakes for its day. And that's, you know, looking at those brakes, that's really something. Now, I've rode bikes with brakes like these before, and if they're adjusted properly, they really do work well. I like that front end. I'm not sure what the tube diameters are here or the travel. If you know that, please post down below. Just gorgeous, isn't it? Now, some of the reading I found said that this had a dry sump engine, but it does have an oil tank, so that would lead me to think it has a wet sump. Let's take a good look at the back end here. BSA, just everything is really in excellent shape, isn't it? Check that out. One gorgeous machine. One gorgeous machine. Look at this hub here in the front. It's got the cone as well. That's really good looking from this side. I like it. I like it a lot. Just a fabulous thing. Now, if y'all are interested in something like this, a classic BSA or Triumph or Norton or Royal Enfield, or I think I just got done counting, there's something like 75 machines in here right now. Get a hold of Baxter Cycle right there, or go to baxtercycle.com. Make sure you tell them Fuzzy Biker sent you. They also have the largest vintage British bike parts supply in North America. They've got buildings full of this kind of stuff. You know, see, there's just hundreds of gas tanks just in this room alone, and this is just one spot. You know, and up there is all electronics. Back there, there's just oodles of parts. They got buildings full of parts. It's just amazing. So we've got several inches of snow on the ground, and it's about 32 degrees. A little bit of melting going on out there, but can't do any bike riding today. Otherwise, I'd try to take this hot rod out for a spin. When the weather gets better, we'll do our best to get something like this out there. That's actually one of the bikes I'd like to ride this year. Beautiful, beautiful. If it's nice where y'all are at, get yourselves out there and ride, my friends. Wahoo!